Good morning and welcome to MS4. Today, lots going on. I want to talk to you a little bit about my new channel. Also, we're falling down the rabbit hole chasing the dupes for the Natasha tan palette. Just want to take you with me for that. And we're going to be putting on makeup, so it's all sorts of exciting. Anyway, so let's get started with that. I'm going to be doing all of my makeup with you on camera. I don't know that I'm going to be talking a lot about it because besides the eyes, there's a lot of old favorites of mine that I'm going to be putting on. So let's get started. All right, really quick empties. Right now, this is the Gllamlite. This is their body cream, Hostess cupcakes. Smells so good. It is one that I already had repurchased a backup, so I've been using that, and I'm also almost ready for another one. So I will be repurchasing this. It was on sale, the Gllamlite website. I don't know if it still is. I'm going to have to just figure out my purchasing just because we're on the low buy, so we really want to keep it low. And there's other things off the website that I do want. You know, we're always chasing free shipping. But that's a lot of things. There's a lot of lip kits that I'd love to pick up from Gllamlite. I have a lot of lip kits already, so it's not like oh, I really need this. I need nothing. But I do love using this on my feet and my elbows and my hands. So it's a very emollient moisturizer and it smells amazing. So anyway, we'll be plotting my repurchase of this. So while I do my base, I'll tell you about my new website. And it's a new, so I'm working on the website part of it, but I have launched the YouTube channel for it. It's basically writing focused. If you don't know this already from before, I'm a writer, and I've been basically screenwriting and other types of writing for the past probably 25 years now. So anyway, my new channel is writing for film and other visual formats. So if you're not necessarily into screenwriting, you can still enjoy this channel if you're writing books, if you're actually writing copy for your YouTube channel. This is something to say that I think that there's useful information for anybody who's interested. And also, if you just like seeing me and want more, or if you need something new to sleep by as a backdrop, it's a good way to start. So please consider viewing and following and subscribing to the channel. I do have a Patreon connected to this. Right now I just have one video that's behind the paywall on Patreon, dealing with more industry related things as opposed to just writing in general. So, you know, if you wanted to hang on until I have more content behind the paywall for being Patreon, or if you just want to support me in general, I would love that. I would like to invite you to be part of that. So anyway, writing for film and other visual formats is live. Okay, so we've got our base on. I've been wanting to use my Fenty. I have a handful of favorite foundations, and this was my favorite for a long time. So here it is. All right, so we're gonna use the Cali contour palette. This is Smashbox. Again, old favorite. Has all your blush, highlighter, and bronzer in one. So that's very exciting. So I'm going to use the lighter bronzer here first. So I've been working on creating videos for writing for film, and it's summer in New York. Been walking the dog a lot. In some ways it makes it hard to do content, makeup content, because as my partner's been working, I have full-time dog duty. So Mabel, my dog, is lovely, but we've been getting up super early trying to beat the heat here. But it doesn't really work. So by the time I shower, I'm gonna go into the pinker, more pink blush here. By the time we get done with the walk, the morning walk, even though I've showered, I'm supremely sticky and hot and gross. So trying to put on makeup after that is not always something I want to be doing. It's just hard. So we get the walk done early, but by the time we're in, so then either do I take another shower? I'm already taking a shower before dinner to try and refresh myself, because by then I've had a noon walk and a morning walk, and I'm much less fresh. So we try and do a before dinner shower, and then before bed you need another shower. So basically I'm showering 3 times a day. I'm gonna go with the lighter highlighter on this, and I'm just using the same brush for all these because it's a very soft diffuse brush. It's from, I can't read. It's the Heavenly Face brush, or the Heavenly Luxe blush brush, from It Cosmetics. This also has not a sparkly highlighter, but if you're trying to do a matte lightening, you could do that. Do this kind of a yellow base. So this has been just a lovely, very dependable palette for years and years. Okay, so let's talk about thighs. So since they had started showing the colors and actually showing the palette for the tan palette, I wanted it so bad. Like the luxe exterior, the shades that, you know, they're neutrals, but they're so rich and chocolatey and tan and light and golden and just beautiful. So, but I started thinking about, okay, I'm on a low buy. That's a fairly significant amount of money to be breaking my low buy and doing. And I started thinking about how many palettes I have that have shades like this. And it was quite a bit. So the first thing I started doing is I pulled out the Colourpop Not a Box of Chocolates, because that's always what I kind of hold up as, like, it really is, you know, all the shades that you want, pretty much, you know. And it's much cheaper, and I already have it in my collection. So I did already do a look with this. As you can see, I'm very careful with it not to take off the little indentations, I can't think of the word for it now, but the embossing, the hearts here, being very careful to do that. But as you see, they have these lovely, rich, sparkly shades, very nice. And so I've been very happy with that. And I did do a look with that just to combat this. And then I started looking, okay, what else do I have in my collection? So these were not an exhaustive grouping. I have a lot of other palettes that I can do lovely, warm or cool, chocolatey looks with. This was the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the Rose Metals. Now this entire palette is not that. It's got definitely deeper greens and more gray looks, but it has the ability to do a very rich, very reflective, deep brown look. So you've got the lighter shades, and then the deeper matte, and the sparkly. This is in the brown family, and then you've also got gray and kind of greenish. So this is more of a green, but it's got, basically you could make a look that would look a lot like the other palettes for that. Then I pulled out the Sigma Cool Neutrals. My brush fell down. Okay, so this is basically got a lot of those same deeper chocolatey. There's some silver, there's some blue, but they definitely have the chocolates and the cream colors in this, and really nice shimmery smooth formulas. And the powder, powder's great on this. I like the formula from Sigma. But that's the Cool Neutrals. Now this is from Nomad. This is the Safari. I think Okavango. It's been a while since I've actually pronounced that. Although I have seen a documentary with the place in question. So this has both greens, browns, coppery colors, and it's really a beautiful palette. And I feel like I can get the rich chocolatey look with this one too, and be very happy with it. Great formula. It looks very pristine still because I haven't used it as much as I would like to, which is really kind of what I'd like to start doing on this channel, is to go back through my collection to use the makeup I have and that I love, that looks very much untouched because it's been used but infrequently, and I'm very gentle usually with my palettes at this point in time, but all of these could use more love. So then I'm like, well, if it's Natasha Denona formula and I'm looking at it, I do have the I Need a Nude palette. And the darker chocolate colors are very similar, and then you have deeper shimmers, lighter shimmers. This palette, if you see a side-by-side of this, the tan palette does have one other deeper shade, but on the whole, you can still get fairly deep eye colors with it. You just have the one deeper shade to use. But you could use a liner to deepen it up, or you could pull in another palette. But you could still get that same sort of range from this palette. So we're going to use this today. It's one of those things that I feel like when we're talking about neutrals, it's more about what formula do you like? Do you like a formula that is more, creamy or dry or sparkly? But the idea being you can get a look that's going to look the same as a lot of other looks for a lot of different palettes. But do you like the ethos of the brand? Do you like the packaging? Do you like the what the brand stands for? Like in the case of Nomad, they're donating lots of their sales to different places around the world, different basically causes that are really, that you can really believe in. So, what are you wanting to support through your usage and your buying power, if you can get the same look? So this one, what I want to do is start with mesh in my crease. Got a fluffy brush. Excuse me. So one of the things I'd also like to do, besides revisiting some of the great palettes that I have in my collection that maybe have not gotten as much love and as much use, I also would like to experiment in the way I am doing makeup. You know, having the same shape of eye and the same eye look. After a while, I think as an audience member, if it's not that you have new makeup that you're using, maybe new application techniques might be helpful, or things like that, or different ideas that you might be able to employ in your own makeup loving life. So I'm going to come into the Fair and just kind of blend that up. It's a matte cream color. So I think the idea being that probably you don't watch this channel to learn makeup techniques at this point. There's not, you know, there's a lot more people who are doing lots of different techniques. Okay, we're gonna go into Tender and then Silhouette. So we're staying matte, Tender and Silhouette. But I think it's just trying to find more ways to utilize the collection I have. And that's, you know, when you're trying to do the low buy, you've got to do that. You know, if you want to continue to be able to play with your makeup and enjoy what you have, you've got to be able to look at your collection and go, this is something that I'm going to be working on expressly, because otherwise you're continually buying makeup and you're not getting a chance to get to know the palettes. Like in some cases, I have palettes that I understand there's a lot of colors that are multi-chrome, or surprising that they don't look the same in pan as they look on the eyes. And this is a lot of indie makeup that I have that really is surprising shades. And I haven't really gotten to explore all of that. So basically, I've spent money on something at one point in time and just not really being able to make good use of it. Make good use of the palette, to fall in love with it, to have time with it, any of that. So I'd like to change that. I think that's the thing, is when you start looking at the makeup that you have, because you bought it at one point in time because either it was exciting, it had a color story that you were interested in, it was bringing out something in you. I understand the idea of the fantasy self, and then people asking, well, am I ever that fantasy self? And I actually support buying things for your fantasy self. But I also support being able to live that fantasy life in that moment with your makeup, with what you're surrounding yourself with, because I think that that's very invigorating. And especially in a world where maybe you don't get to be the fantasy self that you would like to be all the time, it's nice to have something where you can be that. So it's not, I don't want you to be where you are only getting to access your fantasy self when you purchase makeup. It'd be nice to be able to access your fantasy self when you wear the makeup, and then it would be nice to access your fantasy self in the things that you get to do, to be excited about in your actual life. Now, I'm not saying that means you know, spend an ungodly amount of money for something. but find little ways to explore that part of yourself. I think it's very exciting. Okay, we need a sparkle. So I think the sheen is probably the lighter cream color. We're gonna do in the inner corner. I think I'm gonna put down the brush before I end up getting makeup on me. So sheen is going into the inner corner. Okay, and then for the filigree is the deeper one, and then the Ella, let's actually do that because it's a little more, this is a deeper sort of a shade, but the Ella is more of a mid-tone sparkly. So let's do that first. Let's do the Ella, hey. I'm gonna put that on my lid, but towards the outside. I like the Natasha Denton formula, but it's actually not my favorite formula. But I think you can get beautiful looks and have beautiful things with that. Okay, so the last one I think I'm gonna go in is Maya. I'm just taking a thing and cleaning off my finger. Okay. So let's go in Maya. And this is a very dry formula on this. I'm just trying to smooth the transition there. Not quite even. Okay. And then bring it up just a little bit here. Okay, so I think that is pretty close. Let me grab my glasses really quick here for a minute. Okay. Time for the mascara. And I need to just clean up a little bit under the eye because it looks like on my nails today I magnetized Mooncat's Clair de Lune. So that's what's on my nails today. I have been trying to build a horseshoe magnet to use what I've got again in the using what you've got. I've got 3 of the Mooncat's magnets, and so I've been trying to figure out a way to get them farther apart so I can curve them to make a horseshoe type installation. It's a work in progress. So anyway, mascara. so that's kind of what I've been up to lately. Doing the household things. I've been doing grocery delivery. I've been using the Instacart, not sponsored, to have groceries delivered. That way, you know, when you're talking about expenditures of energy, I can expend energy cooking as opposed to getting the stuff to cook. So I've been using that, and that's been helping. I've been watching Angelica Nyquist's new palette, and her new lashes are actually, I don't wear lashes because usually they bump up against my glasses, and anything that bothers my eyes doesn't really help. But she has a new pair of lashes that's just been making me very interested. Things that I would actually, I might actually wear lashes with those. So I've been looking at that. There is no need for new lashes because I don't wear them, but I have been liking her new palette. Okay, so there's that. And now for lips. I had other lip liners that were of interest, but I really was wanting to keep the focus on the eyes. So I just want to have a little bit of color, but not so much that it takes away from things. This is a pink. So we're in Charlotte Tilbury company again. But it's a deeper color, but it shouldn't be, like, it's not going to be bright to take away focus. Oh, I take it back. This is the Icon Baby. Okay, this is Icon Baby in Charlotte Tilbury. It's very hard sometimes to read the print on these. Okay. So this is a sparkly, very light pink. So we're gonna do some liner with this. Okay. I'm gonna go in the Gllamlite Frosted Flakes liner and see if we can just add some depth. Okay, so we've got a little bit more definition, a little deepening of the color. Okay, so that's it for the look. Just so you know, you've got a lot of, if you have a lot of palettes, you probably have a deep chocolatey brown and a light shimmery creamy color. So if you could just use those two shades to make an eye look. We used to do it all the time back in the day where all of our eyeshadows just came in twos, and that's all you got. But I think the thing is, we all have, if we have collected a lot of makeup, and even if we don't, even if we have one palette or one shadow, there's probably a brown in there, a brown and a sparkly one. So we can all kind of make this neutral eye look. Maybe not as exciting or fun, you know, as the Natasha Denona tan palette, but I feel like the more we can look at what we have and go, oh, I can get a look like that. It's harder to justify a hugely high price point unless you're a collector, or you're just saying, you know, this is what I want. I love the formula, I love the ethos, I love the blah blah blah, all of the things, and I'm going to invest in a higher price palette because of that. So, but until then, I encourage you to do what I'm doing, is just look in my collection and find all the things where I can make a brown, chocolatey, sparkly look. So anyway, there'll probably going to be more of this with me as I fight the desire to buy a high price palette that I don't need, and to use the things in my collection to bring me joy. So anyway, hope everyone is doing well, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.